Welcome to the Bull, the Bear, and the Ugly podcast, your no-nonsense guide to the markets. Whether you're watching us live at sktrading.live or listening on your favorite podcast platform, we've got you covered. Subscribe, join the community, and get ready to dive into real talk and real market insights. Let's get started.
Hi everyone, I'm Stephen Kalayjian, and welcome to the Bull, the Bear, and the Ugly. So we saw kind of a mixed day here. The markets ended up being up about half a point on the S&P. Same thing with the NASDAQ. The Russell about a little over 0.5%, and the Dow up about 0.75%. We saw the market today still in very big buy mode here. The 15, the 30, and the 60-minute time frame still in buy mode. And, you know, just to show you, when I came in this morning, at one point, the spiders were down about $2.50. That was 25 points on the S&P. And even with that push down, there was no way that the 15-minute or the 30 or the 60-minute time frames were even going to touch going into sell mode. Matter of fact, we had buy divergences on the 15-minute time frames, and I'll show these patterns to you. Then we had the 10-10 pattern, a phenomenal short pattern, nothing but sell divergences on the new highs, on the index futures, the NASDAQ and S&P futures, the non-confirmations. They dropped about 30 points, 30, 40 points, then setting up a couple long patterns along the way. Then there was the 10-30 pattern, the long pattern after we had that big short. And then again, at 11:05, there was a non-confirmation pattern. Netflix, so many great patterns on the stocks today in individual names. S&P futures pushed up to new highs, and every possible new high was basically running into a brick wall. Looking at the bigger time frames, the 30 and 60-minute MACDs were non-confirming on the new highs. Again, I'll get to that in a little while. Tesla acted poorly all day, but still there were some really great patterns all day in Tesla longs. HIMS, a lot of great patterns in HIMS, caught a couple great short patterns in HIMS on the sell divergences. Big pattern today was the 1 o'clock pattern when we got the push down to the S&P futures to the 55.48. The diamonds ripped about 200. I'll show you that pattern. That was the 1 o'clock pattern. It seems like every single day these, and well, it doesn't seem like, I know, but because I've been doing this so long, that these patterns definitely set up at different times. 10:20, 10:40, 10:50, 11:20, 11:40, 12:40, 1 o'clock. You got these 2:40 time periods, 1:20. I'm telling you, every time I look at the clock, I'm ready, boom, I see the pattern setting up, and there it is. The 1 o'clock pattern today on the 15-minute time frame, the Qs rallied from the 471 and change all the way up 5 points right in a straight line. Again, there was news about the tariffs and the tax cuts, and that also propelled everything as well. Envago didn't act well at all. Nvidia, we had nothing but sell divergences, caught a great short. I'll show these patterns to you on the non-confirmations. SMCI, great short on SMCI and the new high on the 230 time period, pushing up. MACD is non-confirming, monster short. All sell divergences across the board here. Also, at the 250, we saw the new highs in Vago, in Nvidia, in Meta. Well, Meta was a little earlier, but again, non-confirmations here on those names. Also, Apple, the 30-minute time frame, and Apple was an absolute PICASSO. I was calling longs in Apple between the 0940 and the 1040. Apple got down to the 0950, 0960, a little deeper than I had thought, but I saw that 30-minute time frame, and boom, Apple ripped them more than $2 off of that pattern. So again, there were a lot of great patterns here. At the end of the day, caught a really great short on the IWMs, the Russell making new highs, and the 60-minute time frame non-confirmation. You know, the market's been in this range here, okay? And I just think we're days away here. Now, I know we have earnings coming out. Tomorrow's Microsoft and Meta, and on Thursday we have Amazon and Apple. With that being said, I just think we're just days away here. I'm not sure about these earnings. A report came out that Apple's iPhone 17 sales could be 10% lighter than expected, but they got more cash than God, so who knows, right? In the end, let's just go right to show you what I saw today. It was really unbelievable patterns. I had a couple of stop outs on some news events, but overall, a good day on stocks. Also, Palantir, a beast of a stock, traded new highs. Now, can you imagine Palantir? I mean, overall, Palantir was trading below 67 within the last 4 weeks. It's trading 116. Okay, granted, there was some news with a government contract, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. But can you imagine? Okay, the stock is up. Okay, the stock is up 46 points in less than 4 weeks. Okay, it's almost doubled. All right. Now remember the old high 125, 37, whatever, and then it got cabooshed all the way down. But again, the other thing I want to show you is that the market right now is getting deeply overbought on the daily. And I'm going to show you, as I did last night, the negative pattern on the weekly chart. Now you can't ignore this pattern on the weekly. This weekly is really unbelievable. It's a negative pattern. Negative MACDs getting overbought into the negative MACD, the big selling pressure. Now, tomorrow's the end of the month, okay, and big expirations on that. But also what's important is at one point, the monthly was about to go negative on my algorithm on indicator 4 with the spiders closing, if they were to close below the 535, and we never even got that. What we did, when at one point they were trading 521, and now they're trading 554. It's almost like I tell you right now, they know my number. But with that being said, it doesn't look like the monthly is going to reverse to sell tomorrow. Okay, so let me get right to show you what we saw this morning. First of all, ding, 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 ding. You can see the positive MACDs here on the push down. You can see the gap down here, 548.55, and in the same bar, they rallied. Look at this, almost 19 points, $1.90 on the opening. When you see these positive MACDs like this, and you get the push down, it's an absolute PICASSO. NVIDIA, same thing, same pattern. If I go back to 950, you can see NVIDIA 107.44. I don't think it ever saw 107.44, 107.44 the rest of the day. Push down and never look back. Avago, AVGO. I'm going to show you one pattern after another. Here's Avago pushing down into the positive MACD, 190.10, and then it rips, of course, $3. You can see again, when you get the push down into these positive MACDs, this is a huge buy divergence here. If you look at Netflix, I believe Netflix was another one here. Here's Netflix pushing down. Look at this, 10.95. Netflix is up $30 off that. And then even forget about that, 10.95, 10.96, if you got it below that, boom. Okay, look what Netflix did, up 17 off that pattern. If you look at Apple, which was probably one of the best ones on the day on Apple, here's Apple pushing down, 208.37, and look what Apple did. It ripped nearly almost $4 in Apple in less than 45 minutes there on the 15. Again, looking at these 15-minute time frames, QQQs, of course, speaks for itself. Here's the Qs, 469 right here on the Qs. You can see the big positive MACDs here, 469.59. You can see almost $4.50 there. On $4.50. I don't know what's going on here. You can see here again on the Qs, 469.59. And then you see this 474.35, almost $4 there, $3.50, $4 there on the Qs. I'm going to bring up the 30-minute and the 60-minute time frame right here on the S&P futures. So this here is where I called the first short of the morning right here. And look at the next bar. They dropped all the way down to 55.40. Unbelievable. Actually, it was 55.36 was the low on that. So they dropped from 55.70 to 55.36. Got a really deep oversold condition on the 15-minute time frame, and they ripped right back up, all the way back up to new highs here, 55.73. 30-minute time frame reversed to buy, And then at 1 o'clock, here's the pullback at 1 o'clock that I was talking about. If you look at the S&Ps here on the 15-minute time frame, this was the pullback right here at 1 o'clock when the S&Ps dropped all the way down to 55.78, and we never looked back. S&Ps pushed up to new highs right there, rallied almost right there, almost 50 handles off that low. Actually, it was 50 handles off that low. If you look, take here, 57, 55, 47 and 3.25, and it was exactly 50 handles in a matter of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 bars. So really, in an hour and a half on the 15-minute time frame, monster move. Let's look at IWMs at the end of the day. I'll show you the Russell again making new highs here. All right, on the 30 and 60-minute time frame. But now the 60-minute time frame did non-confirm. We actually had this short here this morning earlier. This is the push up. This is the push down, and this is the move right here. This is the move right here on the Russell at 230. Everything pretty much lined up there at 230. You can see the Russell pushed up to new highs and the non-confirmation on the 60-minute time frame. If you look at Apple, this is Apple on the 30-minute time frame. This is the push down I was talking about. Like I said, it pulled in a little deeper than I thought, but I was very confident with this oversold condition on the 30-minute time frame, and you can see the push up on Apple. Now, Apple reports on Thursday, and that's going to be another humdinger there. All right, USOs. Again, we caught a really couple great shorts in oil. And I said to someone that's trading oil, and I said, you cannot look at the futures market, like the oil market, without looking at the USOs during the US session. And he agreed, and we got to really look at these ADXs are rising here. Look at the ADXs rising. This is the bounce here on the 15-minute time frame. You can see when the 15 got overbought. Right here, this is the first bounce we caught right here at 11:30 on oil, 66.73. You can see that's so when the USOs drop by 50 cents, that means that oil dropped by 50 cents. And then here's another great short on the USOs right here, 66.31, and then it dropped again here 40 cents. So I don't know what I'm doing here wrong, but again, so this was the first short on the USOs again because you have the negative MACD, the rising ADX on the big selling pressure on the 60-minute. Same thing with the 30-minute time frame. You can see the big short here on the USOs, big short. And then here's the next one here at the end, especially the overbought condition into the negative MACD. Really great short on the USOs. Okay, beautiful pattern, and actually took a couple of good shorts on oil off of that. And again, if I didn't have the underlying ETF to help me, even though the futures markets were in sell mode, the USOs, and I said to the guys, because they brought it to my attention, what do you think of oil? I went, boom. I would short it based upon the 30 and the 5-minute time frames. They both lined up. Beautiful shorts, two great patterns. I'm looking at one of them right there. It was around the 2 o'clock, 2:05, 2:10. Oil was trading 60.65, but the one prior, if I remember, was trading probably, I think it was 60.85, and that was the one right. Yeah, that was the one right there on oil. It was trading here at 11:30. Oil got up to the 61.08. And then this is the other one on oil. It got up to the 60.69 level and just got absolutely slaughtered. So two really great short patterns on oil during the day. Again, just monster shorts, especially when the continuous contracts reverse to sell. I'll bring it up to you. I'm going to just show this to you. Even though you may not trade oil, it's just the pattern too that you need to recognize. So if you look at crude oil here, at CL, I want to show you when the 5-minute time frame right here reversed to sell. You can see the ADX was rising, and then you could take this first short when the 5-minute time frame correlated with the 15, 30, and hourly on the USOs. and on the continuous contract. Here's a short here on the 5. Here's another short on the 5. Okay, and you can see basically that was it. But the real patterns were off the 15, and this is the 15 on the continuous contract right here. This is the one at 11 o'clock that we were talking about. Here's the first one, and then here's the second one on oil. Really great patterns. You can see the moves here. These are great moves. 1 o'clock, you can see the Qs had another great short here at 105. Let me show you this here. At 105, we had the non-confirmations on the Qs at the 1 o'clock time period. And you can see the Qs were not confirming the highs here again. When we were making new highs, every time the Qs made a new high above the 476 level, we were just looking for shorts. All right. And you can see the drop. You can see that the 60-minute time frames did non-confirm. And if I show you the 30-minute time frame, the 30-minute time frames did not confirm as well. So when we did get the push up off that 1 o'clock condition, oversold condition on the 15, you can see all the new highs had non-confirmations here until it eventually dropped at the end of the day. The 60-minute time frame and the 30-minute time frames did non-confirm. Really great patterns on that as well. If you look here, SMCI, I don't know if I showed this to you here at all. SMCI, really negative patterns. You can see the negative MACDs here on the 60, negative MACDs on the 30. And then when the 15-minute time frame got overbought, right here, you can see this is a sell divergence in a positive trend. SMCI 3670, 3665, never looked back. Just got absolutely hammered. HIMS, really great long pattern on HIMS today off the 15. When HIMS had the gap up here, and you can see it opened at 37.75, pushed up about another 19 cents. When HIMS got deeply oversold, even though the algorithm reversed to sell on the 15-minute time frame, okay, look at what happened here. Look at what happened here on HIMS. The oversold condition into the positive MACD, rising ADX, big buying pressure. This is where you just back up the truck and you want to go long under 33, only under 33 and a half, 33. You try to, and then boom, look what HIMS did. Okay, rally north of $3. This is an absolute PICASSO. It was really a phenomenal trade. Really phenomenal trade. All right. And the way I look at this is, especially with earnings season right now, you can see that we're going to have a lot of volatility here. Look at Microsoft on the 30-minute time frame. When Microsoft pulled in deeply oversold on the 30 right here, look at that, right into the 10-bar moving average, 391.35, and you can see the push up here in Microsoft, about $4 here. Here's another great pattern in Microsoft, right? This is the pullback yesterday when the whole market just exploded. And you see here when Microsoft was making new highs here earlier, this was a great short off of the sell divergences off the 60-minute time frame. Again, if you can master the divergences, especially using the bigger time frames, I will tell you that you have mastered the art of trading. When you're making new highs and you see that the 60 and the 30-minute time frames are not confirming, all right, I'm telling you, I think it's just an unbelievable way to be taught and to learn my methodologies based upon divergences. Oh, look at this Netflix. This Netflix, to me, is just on borrowed time. All right, I mean it. I think this Netflix is just on borrowed time here. Netflix, I'll show you. Look at this push up this morning, 10 o'clock. Netflix pushed up, opened at 101 and pushed up to 110 and then drops. Look at this. Are you kidding me? It drops $26. Netflix today. Okay. Unbelievable. I'm sorry. That was that today? No, that's sorry. Netflix pushed up right here. Sorry, 113. And that was after the opening. I apologize. Netflix pushes down with the positive MACD on the 15, pushes up to 115, drops down to 106. But if you look at Netflix here, all right, when the 5-minute time frame reversed to buy here, you can see that Netflix has been nothing but all this 5-minute time frames we're setting up for buys. Now, I never took the longs on Netflix. I more or less took the shorts on Netflix. Why? Because when you see a stock that is over $112 away from the 10-bar weighted moving average, I don't want to get caught long, period. I don't want to get caught long, all right? So with that being said, when you have such an aberration and you have the stock so far away from the 10-bar moving average, it didn't make a difference to me on the 5-minute pullbacks. I'd rather short all the overbought conditions with the negative MACDs, the non-confirmations. So if you look at Netflix here on the 60 and on the 30-minute time frame, I pretty much, you can see the MACDs are non-confirming here. Even if you draw your horizontal line on the 30, you can definitely see it on the 60. Normally, when this happens, trouble is around the corner. Trouble is around the corner, all right? So basically, I think I shorted Netflix 3 or 4 or 5 times today, but every one of them, except the last one right here at the end of the day. And I'm praying that it gaps up tomorrow because I think it will be a great, phenomenal short, all right? All right, when I get back, I will tell you what I expect for tomorrow. So for tomorrow, we have right now, it looks like something came out because NVIDIA after hours is trading down about, right now, trading 106.73, down about $2 from the opening, from the last sale. Tesla is down about right now, roughly more than 2. Let's see here. I don't know what came out. Avago is down roughly right now about $1.50. So something must have came out because the S&Ps had just dropped here just now. Now, for tomorrow, obviously, we have the GDP number coming out at 8:30. And then after the bell tomorrow, we have Microsoft and Meta. But again, what's really important is I'm going to show you the bigger time frames here. And I think the market is on borrowed time because I think we're going to be in a range here. I think the lows are in for the year. I will tell you that. I think that's going to happen. But you have the big sell divergences here on the 30 and 60-minute time frames. All right. Now, here it is in a nutshell. The 60-minute time frames that were deeply oversold yesterday at around 1:30 yesterday, and we ripped them up. Remember, from 54.92, so we practically ran about 100 points on the S&P off that 60-minute time frame. But here's the thing. We're extremely overbought now on the 60-minute time frame, so I'm expecting a pullback. But listen to this. The spiders closed at 5:54. The 60-minute time frame, in order to get a sell reversal, is 5:43. So you're talking 11 points. 11 points equates to what? 110 points on the S&P futures. That means the S&P futures need to at least drop, right? At least drop to 54.70 before you get a 60-minute sell reversal. I don't see that happening, okay? Now, anything's possible, but I will tell you, this is what I'm concerned about. I mean, it's great. I think it's going to be great action, okay? But overall, I think the market is headed lower, okay? And here's why. Number one, looking at the daily, we're 13 points from the 10-bar moving average. When we were hitting these lows, we were 500 S&P points away from that, all right? So, basically, if you look here, you can see 481 on the right above that 480, the breakout level, which was the breakout level on the S&Ps of 4,800, and you can see we rallied all the way up to 548. Okay, so we rallied 600 points off that number. But here's a gap right here, and that gap is roughly around the 5270 on the 5270 on the S&Ps, and then look at this gap here, 51. I would say 51. Was that 5140 on the S&Ps? Now, do I think these gaps are going to get filled? Absolutely. Now, daily, very overbought, a 95 overbought reading. The algorithm reversed to buy. I'm expecting the oversold condition to look like this in the next couple of weeks. But here's the big problem right here. Here's the big problem. You're getting overbought, okay, on the daily and on the weekly into this negative MACD. You see this? You have the ADX rising, the big selling pressure. The algorithm reversed to buy, so I think this low is definitely going to hold. But if we get a pullback, okay, the algorithm doesn't go from buy to sell in the next week as we saw here. However, you see the 5,700 level, okay, so that's 5,070 on the S&P. And I don't think that's going to actually happen. I think we're going to come in, fill those two gaps, get that oversold condition, and then I think we're going to push up, okay? And I think we're going to push up. And when those MACDs start crossing from below the pivot, again, I think we go back up. However, I will tell you there is a ton of overhead resistance between 5,800 and 6,160. So that's going to take some really great economic data, great earnings, cutting interest rates to get and push that through. I do think that the market ends up on the year. I think it could potentially close to new highs. My target was 6,500. I hope that happens by the end of the year. Okay. I don't think we're far off. We're only about 1,000 points on the S&P right now. Okay. That's really nothing. That can happen like that, but I don't think it's going to happen now. And I do think if they start, they're all hinging on the tariffs. So that could actually have a big catalyst for the market to move up. All right. Also, tomorrow after the bell, like I said, Microsoft, Meta, very big. Amazon, Apple on Thursday. Could caboose the market too. These 4 earnings reports, they could caboose them. Okay, we don't know. It's anybody's guess, right? All right. So again, stocks like MSTR, very overextended. Netflix, overextended. Coinbase, way overextended. I show you the market. I am bearish short term. I think we're going to be in a range 5,100 to 5,600. Okay. Remember when we had the drop, and I said I looked at buying below 5,500 the first time, and I said the first target was 5,770, the second target was 5,830, the third target 5,850, and the fourth target was 5,880. We got up to 5,830. The close that day, or the high that day, was 5,837. Boom, we dropped nearly 1,000 points. So hit the second target, but I was bearish as all hell. I said if you're long, I would get out. I don't care where. And guess what? When the market dropped below 4,900, I said I would look to back up the truck. And that's exactly, and I'm on Twitter saying that. I think it was 4,870. But a lot of people ask me, see, what do you think? What do you think? I said, I don't think they're breaking the 4,800 level, which is the breakout level. I think they're going to hold. I would back up the truck. And I hope a lot of people did. All right. When I get back, I want to tell you a really great story I heard today from a great person in my community. Okay, so just heard the reason why the market is getting cabooshed here now is because the SMCI is getting absolutely cabooshed. It closed at 36. Stock is down $6 more, trading at 30. So SMCI finished. So we'll be looking for shorts tomorrow on SMCI throughout the day. All right. So this morning I ended up talking to a gentleman. Now I got a phone call at 3:30 in the morning from Germany. I got a phone call right after that from France. And then I'm speaking to people because obviously the time difference, I'm wide awake, and it gives me such great joy. But this person really touched my heart today. A young man that's been with me, really applying himself, doing phenomenally well. He said to me, Steve, I've been trading one of these prop firm accounts, and I wanted to say thank you, and it means a lot to me. And he pulled out, quite a bit of money this last month, and it was enough to pay some bills and take his family away for a really nice trip for the summer to Hawaii. And you know what? It really touched me. I really did. That this person really took the time to really learn from me, to be able to understand what were the methodology, but also it gives me great joy that this person now, I was able to help change his life, to be able to take his family to a place that, he really wanted to go, and really touched me. So again, if you really apply yourself here, learn the methodology. It's not easy. I try to make it as elementary as possible, but in the end, if you can just learn from me, learn the patterns, learn the strategies, understand the conditions in the market. I was doing a show this morning. There was like, I think we may be heading lower in the afternoon. I didn't see it based upon the work. My algorithms did not tell me we were even close to going into sell mode. Now that may change the next couple of days, but today, pullbacks were longs, new highs were shorts, so off the sell divergences. So again, I just wanted to share that story because you know what? My legacy depends on your success. And again, if you really apply yourself, I really believe I can help change your life and make a significant difference in your trading skills. A lot of people are new to coming over to me. It's all new to them. It takes time. But please, I tell you, if you follow me, I do the best I can to teach you and guide you throughout the day. And it's nonstop. I didn't even have lunch today. I was here from 9 to 4 all day. And I love it, and it gives me great joy. With that being said, thank you for joining me tonight on The Bull, the Bear, and the Ugly. Please subscribe. Please leave a comment. I come back at night. I try to check the comments and answer. Also, please join my community of traders, sktrading.live. So many people from around the world. I'm so honored and privileged, and so many people call me throughout the night and text me, and I'm just so happy to hear from everybody. Also, my social media, please follow me on X at official Stephen Kalayjian, X, Instagram, and TikTok. Also, I want to say I do not DM, so please understand. Today, a bunch of people texted me and said, "Is this you on Facebook?" No, and of course, scams up the wazoo, but again, I don't do any of that, so I want to be clear. I do give out my phone number, 914-500-7484. So if you want to text me and get in contact with me, I'll make sure I get back to you. Thank you for joining me tonight on The Bull, the Bear, and the Ugly. Have a great night. God bless you, and God bless the United States of America. Be well, everybody.
Thanks for tuning in to The Bull, the Bear, and the Ugly podcast, your no-nonsense guide to the markets. If you enjoyed today's episode, be sure to subscribe at sktrading.live or on your favorite podcast platform. We'd love for you to rate, review, and join our community for more real talk and market insights. Until next time, keep trading and stay sharp.